Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes report. So before we start off the Frontline Changes report, just note that at the end of every Frontline Changes report, I try to do this area, total square kilometers captured by both sides or the frontline change on both sides. But for now, this is not the focus. The focus is what are the frontline changes. So we go to the Kursk front. At the Kursk front, the Ukrainian forces have launched a counterattack, and they have returned to the south of Darino, which caused a frontline change around here. It's a Ukrainian tank, by the way, and allegedly the tank was destroyed, but it still doesn't change the fact that the front line is moved, and so that's all for now. I'm quite sure the Russians are going to retake this pretty soon, because the tank was destroyed. Yeah. So the next frontline change is over at Khlipoke. So this is the Kharkiv front. So this Kharkiv. At the Kharkiv front, this is because the Ukrainians are on the counteroffensive as well. So I believe that this is all part of the Ukrainian so-called offensive operation that was announced by Sersky. Ukrainian forces appear in the north of Khlipoke, and this invalidates previous Russian claims, as well as capturing some grounds that was under Russian control. So this is the frontline change. The distance from the previous front line was maybe around 800 meters. So around there. So that's all from the Khlipoke region in the Kharkiv front. After Khlipoke, we have one shocking news. It's over in the Vorishna front. So the Ukrainian forces launched an offensive against the Russians at Novolimsk. So the Ukrainian forces successfully, in a very intricate counterattack, retook everything in the north of Vorishna, where the Russians have a beachhead or bridgehead, and the Russians all withdrew from their positions as they got pushed out. So Ukrainians captured all of the land all along the Oskil River. So the front line change is pretty wide. We're talking about a distance of over 5 kilometers of frontline changes here. So that's all from Vorishny front at Novolimsk. But just important to note that the Russians did have another position in the south of Vorishna. So this is another place that the Ukrainians will later come and take on after this. So that's all from Novolimsk. The next frontline change, we go to the Pischany front. So the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has considered yet another big chunk of territory. As per reported during the situation report, Russian forces continue to expand their grounds south of Pischany as they continue to move southward. But I did mention in the situation report that I believe that this has happened a long time ago, and now they are just picking the right moment to report this, where the frontline defeats are not as bad as previously. So this is the frontline change over in the east of Krylyakivka, and after this area here, we go to Stuposhki. Over at the Bakhmut front, the Ukrainians also launched a counteroffensive or offensive in this region in Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut. Stuposhki is over here. So the Ukrainian forces launched an attack. They were geolocated along the highway leading to Bakhmut, and this leads to frontline changes in this sector, which means the Ukrainians have advanced in this area here. So that's the frontline change. The distance traveled along the highway is probably around 1.6 kilometers. So that's Stuposhki at the Bakhmut front. And the next frontline change, we go to New York front. That's pretty much the end of all the good news for Ukraine. Everything else is just bad news. It's all Russian advances. So over at Torex, the Russians surprisingly appear in the middle of two hills, and they rested pretty well around here with attacks by the Ukrainians though. So that actually caused invalidation of Ukrainian claims and expansion of Russian captured areas in the northwest of Zabalka region. So the Zabalka region, there is still Ukrainian forces around here most likely, but this is still a capture. The total distance traveled from the nearest point of the previous front line is around 1 kilometers. So this is pretty big in advance. So that's Torex, the Zabalka region of Torex in the New York front. And the next front line change, we jump to the Pokrovsk front. So this is Pokrovsk. And at the Pokrovsk front, the Russian forces has been geolocated southeast of the Chanske. And the Russian forces basically captured huge amount of areas with this front line, this geolocation. So this is the marked front line changes, and the distance traveled by the Russian forces is around 1.6 kilometers. So that's the Chanske. And after the Chanske, we move to the southwest of this position at Pushkine. Russian forces have captured another tree line in the southeast of Pushkine, and this tree line is around 2 kilometers long. So this is a pretty big front line that the Russians have captured, moving in the direction of Ukrainka. And so before I go on, do you like the way how I talk? Do you prefer I talk in this way? So let me know in the comments. And we move on away from Ukrainka to from Pushkine, by the way, to Stary Terny. So in the Kurakove sector, the Russian forces have advanced towards Stary Terny and captured half of the settlement. And this, of course, because of the frontline change, includes some part of the Kurakivsky reservoir. So the Russian forces advanced around 1.2 kilometers and have captured half of Stary Terny. And that's the frontline change in the north of the Kurakivsky reservoir. In the south of Kurakove, Russian forces has expanded their control in the southern district of Pivdeny of Kurakove, and a very small change. The total length is around 900 meters along this road. So that's all from Kurakove. And there's one last frontline change over at Uspenivka. So the latest geolocation shows that the Russian forces have advanced in the southwest of Uspenivka, capturing part of the tree lines leading to the main road leading to Uspenivka. The frontline change, the distance traveled is around maybe just 250 meters to 270 meters, around there. So that's all for the Uspenivka region, and this is the frontline changes. And let's go into the area captured. So we have the biggest area captured by the Russians by the Pischany front because of the frontline correction over the south of Pischany. The next frontline change, the biggest, is over at the Pokrovsk front because of the advance at the Chanske, mainly over this area here. The Ukrainians didn't had it bad. The biggest for the Ukrainians is the Voreshna front, where they have retaken the entire bridgehead or beachhead across the Oskil River. And so that's 3.52 square kilometers just above the Kurakove front sector, where the Russians have taken positions at Stary Terny. So let's count the total area captured. So let's bring out the calculator. And so this is the calculator, in case you do not know. So let's count the Russians first. 8.36 plus 0.87 plus 5.17 plus 3.24 plus 0.404. So the total advance by the Russians total capture is 18.04 square kilometers captured. And let's count the Ukrainian ones. So the Ukrainian ones is, let me clear the calculator, 0.21 plus 0.59 plus 3.52 plus 0.94, which is 5.26 square kilometers. So let me add it in, 5.26 square kilometers. So that's it. So the Ukrainians did not too bad. They captured 1/3 of what the Russians have captured, but generally is still pretty minimal versus the continual collapse over in the Donetsk region. So anyway, that's it. This is the Frontline changes. Press the like button, subscribe, check out the crazy shit that's happening over in South Korea, and of course, the crazy shit that's happening over at Syria. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next update.